Ready? Hey guys, I'm here at the Colorado Cars and Coffee, and I found the most, well, let's call it unique car here. And Tommy, just give them a quick spin around and show them all the cars that are here. Yep, it's a Conquest. Come on over.
Hi.
Hi. So first of all, say your name so people know who we're talking to.
I'm Eric. Hello.
Eric is a friend of mine from the hobby shop, actually, and he's had this car for a while. And what year is it?
88.
88. All right, so when I was a kid, Eric, that was the car I lusted after. It was just a car that represented the 80s to me, right? There was a Conquest, there was a Talon.
Yep.
And then there was, of course, the Z.
The Zs.
Yeah, the Mazdas, the Supras. But that was the car that was just the most Japanese out of all of them, I think. You know, talking about Japanese domestic market, that's one of the cool ones. And it's one of the ones that's kind of slipped through the cracks. So, Tommy, let's give him a walk around, then we'll tell you about the car. Actually, come over. You know what? We'll show you the inside after we talk a little bit. So, Eric, why a Conquest? I mean, it's turbocharged, which makes it cool.
Turbocharged, yeah. Turbocharged, so, old, fun. Looks like a wedge. I love wedge-shaped cars.
Yeah.
And then it was my first turbo car. Not this one, but bright yellow one. I think it was like 25. Bought it. The insurance cost more than the payments did. Yeah. So it went back to the buy here, pay here lot, but it started my addiction with turbos.
So how many horses were under the hood when it was new?
140 maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'd have to guess. All of 7 pounds of boost.
Yeah. Let's show them what the engine looks like. Yeah. Pop it open here.
You got it right there.
I don't have it. I'll let you do it. There we go. And has this been upgraded, or is this in its beautiful original state?
With the exception of the blue intake boot, because mine had a rat hole through it, it's all factory.
All right, and you think it's still got like 140 horses?
No, probably not.
No,
it's probably down to 130.
Show them the engine, Tommy.
So, Eric, can you explain what a Conquest is? Because it kind of has an interesting history.
Yeah. Let's talk
Conquest
about it.
what was it? Yeah, Conquest was the Chrysler badged Mitsubishi Starion, and just how they brought it over, I think, to avoid tariffs in the 80s. And same car as a Starion. Really aren't a lot of changes, but it was kind of not the first, but definitely one of the more successful Chrysler Mitsubishi things that would, of course, go on to be the DSM cars.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Plymouth Blazer, the Eagle Talon.
Yeah. And what was cool about it was that not only was it turbocharged, and not only was it, like I said, about as Japanese as it gets, that was sold under a domestic nameplate, but check this out, guys. It had the classic 80s signature implement, which I think are the pop-up headlights.
Of course.
You got to have pop-up headlights.
Yeah, can you flick them on?
Yeah, can you pop them up? Oh, yeah.
So, do you know how many they made and through what years?
I do not. I want to say 83 through 89. I know 89 was the last year, and they imported very few in 89.
Okay.
Yeah, it was starting to get old. Even the engine and all the plumbing and all that stuff was just outdated.
Yeah, it was right before, you know, the Mark IV Supras came out, so it was a generation before then, right? It was before the 300ZX twin turbo. Yeah. So it was competing with what was it, the 280 at the time, right? So
the 280, the RX-7.
The RX-7, not the FD, but the FB, I think, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting time for cars, right before it all exploded. So where'd you find this guy? How'd you find the Starion in this condition?
Found it in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And there's a website that's I think it's starquest.com or whatever it is, and there's a guy advertising it. Might have been on Facebook too, and I was like, oh, I have to have it.
So you flew to North Carolina.
Yep.
You got in this '88. Starion, and you drove it all the way back to Colorado.
Drove it all the way home like a complete idiot.
And I take it made it, but not quite.
It made it. Yeah, it made it all the way home.
So what failed? Everything's got to fail.
light bulbs, the tuner on the stereo, a couple of the fusible links kept popping. The cigarette lighter didn't work, so I couldn't use my nav. Well, the cigarette lighter worked, but as soon as you plugged anything into it, it blew a fuse and the engine shut down.
Yeah.
So, and then at a car wash down the street from the house, it started just blowing oil.
I think
so. It got me home.
I think if any of you guys have ever bought a classic car, you know that within the first 50 miles of ownership, something's going to fail.
Oh yeah,
that's just a given.
Yeah. It was overheating on the whole way home. I had the windows down and the heat on. Yeah, just kookiness, which was a broken vacuum line to the fuel regulator. So, you know, it's always little stuff.
So can you find parts for it?
Yeah, you gotta dig around a little bit. There's kind of a shocking amount of new parts for it because they fit so many Mitsubishis that used that engine.
Yeah.
Motor mounts, things like that. But some of the other little stuff, you're buying it used.
Let's look at the inside.
Yeah, let's show them the inside. Yeah,
do.
Oh, you got these seatbelts. Oh, look at this, guys.
House motor seatbelts.
You've got the motorized seatbelts, yeah.
Wow, turbo seatbelts.
Turbo seatbelts.
Wow. I love all these controls. Look at that, guys. The first touch screen way before the current touch screens ever came out. I love the steering wheel. It's so 80s in here. This is very Subaru-like with these kind of side stock buttons. It's super clean in here. I'm just really impressed by look at this. And if you think that controls for the radio on the steering wheel are something that hasn't been around, 1988.
There you go.
There you go. You got your push button controls on the steering wheel. Way cool. Lift for emergency exit. That's got to be the control for the seatbelt, so you're not tied in.
Let's look at the back then.
Yeah.
Same color, everything. Had the interior changed.
Oh, it's got like louvered taillights.
I know. How cool is
Look
that?
at that.
And smoked.
That lift for the emergency exit, that's for let you out of the seatbelt, right? Is that?
Yeah, I would guess.
Yeah.
Thank God I've never had to run into it. It's got an inertia stop.
Yeah.
So if God forbid you're in an accident, you're going to pull up that,
Yeah.
and it's going to let that reel out.
Okay.
I guess. I don't know. So, and I don't want to find out.
You know, the seatbelts were a thing for a couple of years, and much hated.
Oh, they were terrible. A big thing to do with this generation car, the 88, is you swap in a ton of the interior out of the 86 and down just to get slightly better seatbelts. But they're still 80 seatbelts. They're the ones that they stayed latched in the center, but the belt was attached to the door, so the whole thing opened when you opened the door. So still awful, but
not as
slightly less awful.
Yeah. And you know, I gotta tell you, I think the thing that made me fall in love with this car was just the classic Coke bottle shape, right? You've got that kind of beautiful silhouette, and then you had these impossibly big for the day rear wheels. Show them the rear wheels. What size are those?
225 50s.
245 50. 225 50. And back in 1988, that was, you know.
Yeah, well, and they were 16s.
Yeah.
And I mean, in 88, a 16 was wow.
Yeah.
And these are actually the narrower wheel option.
Really?
They had a wheel that looked identical, but was like an inch wider, if I remember right. I had to double check. That's the SHP wheels, which this car should have, but doesn't, and I have not had the money to score a set.
All right, one last question, because these guys are wondering, how much does a bad boy cost? How much can you get these for?
You know, it depends on what kind of shape they're in. I paid too much for this car at $6,500.
Doesn't seem like too much to me to drive a dream.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I've seen them down around the $2,000 mark for a running driving car, but they're beat and rusty.
Yeah.
So, you know, anywhere in there.
So guys, if you're looking for a classic 80s car that hasn't yet gone through the roof, not yet. Check out the Starion or the Mitsubishi version of it.
Check out the Conquest.
The Conquest or
Chrysler Conquest or the Mitsubishi Starion.
Yep. Because they're cool, and I think they're still a little bit unheralded. Eric, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching. Check out TFL Car. Ciao. That was fun.
It's not rust, obviously.
And it's amazing how